near the town of Drew, in the northwest of the Uri-Tilwar province. The foray Dominial de Drew comes alive every April and May. That's when hunters like us are allowed to target invasive wild boars in an effort to control their ever-growing population. So, join us as we kick off this thrilling hunting journey right now. As soon as we released the hunting dogs and fired the opening shot, a large herd of wild boars dashed across the trail in front of us. It was an irresistible target that our hunting team simply couldn't pass up. We quickly split up and set up ambushes at different points. Knowing the boars would soon scatter once they sensed danger. Just as we predicted, a few wild boars broke away from the herd and headed straight toward us. However, despite our efforts to fire quickly, we missed the opportunity, letting them slip away and escape. Quickly chasing after the wild boar that had just escaped, I quietly took cover behind a tree and waited patiently. The moment it reappeared, it didn't hesitate. I pulled the trigger instantly. My target was the lead boar, but unfortunately, the shot missed and it vanished into the forest. However, the missed shot didn't discourage me. I quickly gave chase and, together with my companion, set up an ambush. There it is, the boar. Finally, after all our efforts, luck was on our side. With just one shot, the boar dropped instantly and rolled down the slope. Just seconds later, another gunshot rang out. My friend had just taken down another massive wild boar. A proud victory and a true testament to our never-give-up spirit. The dry leaves on the ground rustled with every movement of the boars, making it impossible for them to hide their presence. We were able to quickly locate our target. As the sound grew louder, we knew it was time to open fire. Even though the boar stubbornly kept running despite being wounded, we knew it would soon collapse from exhaustion. In another spot within the forest, John spotted a series of tempting targets. As soon as they dashed past him, he didn't hesitate and immediately opened fire. Caught in the rain of bullets, one wild boar failed to dodge in time, got hit, and collapsed, left lying in the middle of the wild forest. The strongest and largest wild boars are always our top targets. With their destructive power and rapid reproduction, they pose a threat that cannot be ignored. That's why our entire team stays determined, relentlessly tracking and taking them down to help preserve the balance of the ecosystem here. Through the layers of camouflage, I spotted another wild boar on the move. But this cunning creature was sharp, it stayed alert, and seemed to catch our scent, immediately picking up speed. I didn't miss the chance. I fired without hesitation. After a rapid burst of shots, the boar was finally taken down. The sky gradually turned gloomy and a few raindrops began to fall, so we decided to pack up and head back. Suddenly, a signal came from the vehicle ahead. Our teammate had spotted a herd of wild boars about to cross the road. Without a second thought, we jumped out of the car. 2 gunshots rang out, and surprisingly, both hit their targets. The entire team couldn't hide their excitement, proud of the glorious achievements from today's hunt.
Whoa.
I hadn't planned to go hunting, but the moment I set foot in Transnubia and saw the forest edge fields torn up overnight, the hunter's blood in me instantly boiled. The locals weren't surprised. They were used to preparing their guns every rainy season to go clean up. Seeing my excitement, they simply asked, "You in?" I nodded without hesitation, slung my backpack, shouldered my gun, and joined the team. That morning, the sun was shining. The forest was dense, filled with tangled dry branches. Every step had to be cautious because behind any bush could be open ground, or a 100-kilo wild boar lying in ambush. Luckily, I was with locals, people who knew the forest paths like the back of their hand, understood the prey's habits and the spots they frequented. All I had to do was stick close behind and keep a steady grip on the trigger. There was the first target had appeared. It came charging down a slope, moving fast. I raised my gun without a moment's hesitation. The distance was perfect and the timing couldn't be better. I took a deep breath and pulled the trigger. As expected, the boar was hit and tumbled down a slope. A smooth start, but when hunting, overconfidence is your worst enemy. While lying in ambush in a bush, I suddenly heard a strike. My heart pounded like it wanted to leap out of my chest. The gun barrel was ready. The moment the boar burst out of the bushes, I instinctively pulled the trigger. That surprise encounter sent my adrenaline through the roof. No matter how many hunts I've been on, that feeling never fades. We kept moving and scanning the surrounding area. The barking of the hunting dogs led me to another thick bush. I knew there was another boar hiding in there. The gun was loaded again. When its pointed snout poked out, I didn't hesitate. Bang! A single shot, and it dropped instantly. The path into the bush was tough, requiring careful maneuvering through tight spaces. But when I reached it and saw the massive boar lying still in the grass, I just smiled. Every effort had been worth it. And in the quiet stillness of the late afternoon woods, I once again heard the rustle of dry leaves. A wild boar, no doubt about it. Sure enough, just seconds later, a dark figure appeared. Without hesitation, I raised my gun, aimed, and fired in a split second. The boar dropped on the spot, a satisfying redemption for the frustrating miss earlier. Still not quite satisfied with the day's take, on the way back, I lingered near a small trail cutting through the forest. Who knows? Maybe the final moments would bring another surprise encounter. And sure enough, as if to indulge me, another wild boar appeared. Through the scope, I tracked its every movement. I waited until it stepped into the ideal range. A perfect shot. The boar collapsed right at the roadside. Though today's trip was exhausting and intense, it ended in the most complete and satisfying way possible.
Wild boar. When their numbers got out of control, they were no longer normal animals. They became dangerous invaders. For months, wild boars had been destroying crops, and Jack, a villager, had been having sleepless nights because of a herd of crazy, ferocious pigs. Coincidentally, Alex, Adam, and John, my longtime friends, were planning a hunting trip. And tonight, we would put an end to this terror. As night fell, we settled into our ambush positions, just waiting for our targets to arrive. Here they were. A herd of pigs was feeding near the edge of the forest.
Back from the south.
We kept our breathing steady. Through the thermal scope, I could clearly identify the location of each target. The first shot fired. A male fell. The rest scattered. Adam and John quickly assisted, taking down 2 more. At the same time, Alex also managed to finish off another boar before they disappeared from sight. There were so many boars. They were everywhere. Without hesitation, we spread out, choosing the ideal shooting position. Boom! Jack fired first. The 2 largest fell immediately. My teammates and I took down a male leader, causing it to collapse immediately. The others ran away, but we had calculated this beforehand. John and Adam had intercepted them, taking out 3 more boars. At this point, we followed the edge of the forest, going deeper into the fields where the boars often hid. This area is adjacent to dense forest, which is an ideal place for wild boars to appear more. In the view through the thermal scope, I discovered a giant wild boar slowly moving ahead. Its image appeared clearly with its large size, characteristic black color. I quietly approached, trying to get as close as possible to ensure an accurate shot. To finish off the saboteur before it had a chance to escape. As the night went on, more and more wild boars appeared, and they also became larger. In a moment of excitement, Alex and I opened fire at the same time, taking down a wild boar on the spot. From our favorable shooting positions, we continuously took down more boars. Each shot was a saboteur falling down. The continuous gunshots echoed throughout the field, signaling a successful night of hunting and also a stern warning to the wild boars. The battle became more intense than ever. We decided to move flexibly in order to find more targets. Do you see? The giant black shadows were standing there. I aimed at the biggest wild boar, held the gun tightly and pulled the trigger, then took down the other pigs one by one. With each shot, we had to concentrate to shoot accurately, ensuring to take down as many pigs as possible. Moving towards the food trough we had placed in the afternoon, there was a large herd of pigs, leisurely enjoying their meal without any vigilance. This was the perfect opportunity. The group immediately prepared, choosing the most favorable shooting angle. The gunshots rang out, causing the herd of pigs to panic and run away. The slow ones were immediately taken down. A few lucky targets escaped, but even when they hid behind the bushes, our thermal scopes easily detected and took them down with fatal shots. It was late at night, but we still persisted in our ambush, determined to take down a few more wild pigs. The giant black shadows were leisurely foraging in the field, accidentally entering our sights. The accurate shots helped us take down many large pigs, which was a great achievement. The gunshots gradually became less frequent, and perhaps the pigs were so frightened that they did not dare to turn back. The hunt ended with proud results, bringing us the joy of a successful hunting night. Welcome to one of the most intense wild boar hunts in the Australian countryside. Today, we're not stealthily tracking footprints on the ground. Instead, the hunting team will chase down their prey from above, by helicopter. From vast open fields to dense forests, the hunt unfolds at breakneck speed, where every shot is crucial. Get ready to witness a relentless showdown, where skill and determination are the keys to victory. Shooting from a moving helicopter while the prey is constantly on the run? Sounds like a tough level in a shooting game, but this is the real challenge that hunters face. Watch how these skilled marksmen turn the challenge into an impressive display of accuracy and precision. Oh wow, look at that! A whole herd of wild boars is frantically fleeing. But don't be fooled by their seemingly helpless appearance. These invaders are not only destroying crops, but are also responsible for severe soil erosion and the spread of deadly diseases like African swine fever. With speeds reaching up to 40 kilometers per hour, wild boars can scatter in multiple directions, making pursuit difficult. But this time, the hunting team has the perfect vantage point from the helicopter. The sharpshooters quickly secure their first victory of the day. What a fantastic start! Think hunting is only for men? Think again. Today, a female hunter is about to prove everyone wrong. Oh no! A massive herd of wild boars, so many that I can't even count them all. But without hesitation, shots rain down from the helicopter above. The boars scatter in sheer panic, but no matter how fast they run, escape is nearly impossible this time. And the most impressive part? Our female sharpshooter delivers an outstanding performance. This just goes to show that women can not only join the hunt, but sometimes they even outperform men. This is as intense as an action movie. That's all I can say after witnessing this adrenaline-pumping hunt firsthand. Oh, there they are again. However, these boars are smaller, and the dense trees make aiming much harder for the hunters. But nothing is impossible. In just moments, the hunters managed to take them all down. For years, wild boars have been a serious problem in Australia, with a population of over 24 million, causing billions of dollars in agricultural damage annually. Helicopter hunting is not just an exciting adventure, it's an essential method for controlling their numbers and protecting local crops and ecosystems. In dense areas, wild boars have the upper hand. They use every bush and tree for cover, tricking hunters and sometimes even vanishing completely. But luck isn't always on their side. Once they enter open ground, everything changes. A herd of wild boars panics and scatters as soon as they hear the helicopter. But where can they run? Once they are in the sights of Australia's top sharpshooters, their fate is all but sealed.
Eliminate 300 to 500 wild hogs in a
These two shooters are absolute professionals. Oh my god. Within seconds, a series of precise, rapid shots take down one boar after another. No hesitation, no wasted movement, just pure skill and efficiency. The boars fall like a perfectly executed action scene. Hunting wild boars from above is an exhilarating experience that demands skill, focus, and strict adherence to safety rules. However, this is not an adventure for the inexperienced. If you haven't been properly trained, aren't familiar with firearms, or have never hunted from a helicopter, it's best not to jump in too soon.
Recently, locals in the area had begun to notice the familiar signs of wild boar appearing more frequently along the slopes behind the village. We decided to head up the mountain early, hoping to get a head start before the boars moved further down the slopes. The slopes were steep and slippery, making for difficult travel. But if we could follow their usual paths, our chances of encountering them would be much higher. We parked by a narrow trail at the base of the mountain. Rifles had just been slung over our shoulders, and the group was ready to hike along the steep slope to reach our ambush point. No one expected things to kick off this early. Hank gripped his rifle tightly, cautiously approaching a small mound near the roadside. From its hiding spot, a wild boar suddenly burst out. Without hesitation, a sharp, decisive gunshot rang out. Just seconds later, the first target had collapsed. The hunt hadn't even officially begun, but the boars had already offered themselves up to the barrel. It took the team about 30 minutes to reach the ambush site we had scouted earlier. The top of the slope was clear, but below, dense brush covered the foothills, and that was our target area, the area I couldn't take my eyes off. A wild boar dodged Eric's shot and darted into the bushes. A few seconds later, it appeared on the other side, exactly as predicted. I held my breath, my finger tightening on the trigger. A deafening explosion tore through the air. The target had no chance of escape. Eric shifted his line of sight and quickly spotted a herd of wild boars moving up the slope. Without hesitation, he raised his rifle, waited for the perfect moment as one of the boars entered a clearing, and fired. A single shot hit. One boar rolled down the hill, while the rest immediately bolted in panic. Still, we had secured the prize we came for. At a higher ambush point, Hank also spotted a boar just as it emerged from a dense thicket. He didn't hesitate for even a second. A direct shot from the front brought the wild boar down instantly, and it tumbled into the green brush nearby. In mountainous slope areas like this, wild boars often choose paths covered with thick vegetation to move and forage. So, if you catch the wind direction and set up at the right spot, the chances of a successful ambush are quite high. Only were there hunters positioned above, there was also someone stationed down in the valley. Travis received a report from the scout team. A wild boar had been wounded and was trying to hide in the bushes. Not giving a chance to escape, Travis immediately moved in on the target. The boar no longer had the strength to fight back, so all Travis had to do was fire a decisive shot to finish it off completely. During our hunts along the mountainside, we usually retreat early from the peak and switch to ambushing in nearby areas. I was assigned to hold position at the foot of the mountain, a narrow trail between the low valley and the slope, which also happens to be a common path for wildlife movement. Sure enough, not long after, rustling came from the nearby brush and a dark figure appeared. I reacted quickly, adjusted my aim, and pulled the trigger. A single clean and precise shot. The boar collapsed by the roadside, struggled briefly, then lay still.
Κι άλλο Μίμη, 3 από βαρμένα, μια γούνα και 2 μπίνια.